Hey everybody, welcome to the Oppressed by Sun video series. My name's Gabe, and I'm here today to present you with a video I'm calling Lefty's Choice. It's a video about a moral dilemma. Hey everybody, welcome to the Oppressed by Sun video series. My name's Gabe, and I'm here today to present you with a video I'm calling Lefty's Choice. It's a video about a moral dilemma. In my games, I like to present moral dilemmas to challenge my players to make nuanced decisions and anticipate consequences. While PC choice determines the course of the story, DM preparation and setup is crucial to presenting interesting choices for the PCs to make. With that in mind, I'd like to tell you about a situation that occurred in my current campaign, and maybe help you develop interesting choices for your PCs. So here's the situation. Most of the players started as apprentices in a guild known as Doves of Honor. Amongst their very trusted and close-knit mentor group was a cleric of a Church of Purity, my own creation, not important. What is important is that he was the moral pillar, the moral guidance for the entire organization. Everybody called this cleric Lefty because his right hand had been amputated as a punishment for some unknown crime in the past. This also helped to establish a special feel for the character, as well as give him a very, very good reason to be mistrustful of the government. Our adventure started with Lefty being MIA, and a bit of an unsolved mystery as they went to his house and found some healing potions but could not find the man himself. Lefty was very caring and kept them healthy, but he had many secrets. This is clue number 1. Our adventure started with Lefty missing in action, and the group went to his house and searched it, found some healing potions, but didn't find any evidence of his whereabouts. After leaving the city for a largely unsuccessful excursion, the players returned to learn that Lefty had been imprisoned by the government, and that the guild badly wanted him freed. As the players investigated, hoping to free Lefty, they discovered that Lefty was not being held in the prisons with the other guild members, but instead in the temple, which served as the seat of government in this city. Clue number 2. Eventually, they found a government agent who was willing to tell them exactly where Lefty was in the temple, in exchange for gaining some reputation by learning information about one of the guild allies. This government agent gave this information up quite freely, and the information turned out to be very accurate. That's clue number 3. After sneaking into the temple and finding Lefty exactly where the agent told him that Lefty would be, they found Lefty writing in a thick logbook. And when they asked him, should they take the notes, Lefty told them, no, we don't need those notes. I've just been feeding them untrue information about the guild operations and about the guild members. So nothing in there is important. We can just leave that behind. There's clue number 4. After escaping the temple with little to no resistance, clue number 5, they eventually decided to send Lefty to hide with one of their most powerful allies, a criminal known as Lloyd Argyle. Long story short, when they went back to find Argyle, they found his men dead under suspicious circumstances and Lefty unconscious on the scene. When they revived Lefty, he was sort of evasive and did not provide assistance in a coming battle, or at least he seemed to attempt to provide assistance, but did not provide effective resistance. In fact, some of the players even complained about that. And it again led to devastating consequences for the players and their allies. Number 6. Further investigation led them to the fact that Lefty was being spied upon, that everything they talked about in his presence was likely known to the government, and most importantly, that Lefty was complicit in this deceit. The party decided to confront Lefty in a non-aggressive manner. Lefty put down his weapon and sat down to talk. Part 2, the dilemma. With Lefty at their mercy, execution for treason was proposed, but Jennifer the Bard gave him a chance, and Lefty explained his decision. He said, "I am a lawful man. I believe in the government's mission to enforce the laws. I am loyal to my friends, but not beholden to a criminal organization that sent me to smuggle weapons without my knowledge." The party could sympathize with this, since they had also been sent without their knowledge to smuggle very, very dangerous weapons under the government's nose. Lefty continued, "When I was captured, the government offered me a choice. They said, you can help your friends. You can save the people that you love. If you just convince them to sign oaths of loyalty, we will release them from prison." So, on the basis of these facts, Lefty agreed to give the government information on the guild members, on guild operations, on everything going on behind the scenes in the guild, which allowed the government to round up the entire guild, to basically shut down the entire operation in Salmore, the city where most of our players are from. The government also required Lefty to go along with this plan to allow the PCs to rescue him and then be scried upon so that information could be passed along to the government in that way. I.e., the rescue was a setup all along. Those were the clues I was dropping earlier, so hopefully you got that. Obviously, the party was outraged, and they were right to be outraged. This was a friend who had betrayed them, and their hatred for the government is justified in its own way. If you want to learn more about that, see my first video. A debate ensued amongst the PCs. Now, here is a DM tip for you. When a debate is ensuing and you think that a difficult question is going to be answered, and there might be conflicting opinions, give a time limit. In this case, the government agents were bearing down on their position. They knew where Lefty was, and they were coming for all of them. The players had only a few minutes to decide his fate and theirs. Given the short time frame they had to explore the decision, I was proud of the way that they approached it. There were arguments on both sides. Arguments to execute Lefty included, he already betrayed us, he can't be trusted not to do it again. Sparing healers who will help the government is self-defeating to our cause. And of course, there were ideological objections, such as pro-government sympathizers should be executed on principle, and traitors deserve death. All of those arguments are poignant and persuasive in some situations. But on the other hand, some of my PCs mentioned that having a friend who is recognized and in a legal situation is quite valuable. Also, Lefty is a good person. He wants to uphold law and order, and those values are not wrong. Preserving the Church of Purity is a worthy goal. Someone might want to learn the healing arts someday, someone in this party, that is. And the world needs good religions and good clerics. And this one, I think, is probably the most important of the ones I've mentioned so far, because they had a number of remaining allies who were homeless and in many cases children or younger adventurers who were not quite ready to take great risks. So having a safe place for those independent actors, those allies, was an important factor in their decision. And Lefty promised that all those who repented and came to his church would find would find safety. So that was a pretty persuasive point I think they made. Another point that was brought up, and probably only one of the PCs really bought into, was the idea that one day they may need to cooperate with the government, and that having a go-between of this caliber would be quite valuable in that circumstance. I don't think that was overly persuasive. Also, of course, the party themselves could use a refuge and a powerful healer, and Lefty did promise to heal them if they ever came to his temple. So, in the end, they decided to let Lefty live, although it was not a unanimous vote. And for me as a storyteller, it was a very, very satisfying scene, a very satisfying outcome, and it raises interesting future storytelling opportunities. And I think that this is a very difficult situation to set up in terms of gameplay. And so the next part here, I wanted to explain how did I set this situation up. To help you improve your skills, I wanted to provide a brief comment on how to set up these dilemmas in your storytelling. The key is reacting to the choices of the PCs through the point of view of a well-defined, goal-oriented NPC. So as a little aside, I'm a rather straightforward person. It's difficult for me to RP someone who knows he is lying. Also, I don't think it's really that realistic. Most people think of themselves as good and do not pursue evil goals as a matter of course. So it is important to frame a traitor, in this case, in a way that he believes he is doing the right thing at every decision that he comes to along the course of the story. What this means is that traitors are defined by circumstance rather than by some decision that I made going in. The circumstances are created by the decisions of the PCs. The only things I knew about Lefty going into this process was that Lefty was a good person who loves the law and he loves his friends. Lefty believes that the government is out to enforce just laws, and he believes that the guild, the criminal organization, including our party, our heroes, is misguided but not evil. That means that the specifics of the plot used by Lefty and the government to uncover the identities of the players, to know their location, to know the location of their allies, to destroy their allies, the specifics of that plot were determined by the choices of the PCs themselves. Now, I already ran through sort of a timeline of how they encountered Lefty in this case. Now I want to explain to you the significance and why those decisions that the NPCs made impacted the outcome of this betrayal. By approaching a government agent to ask for information about Lefty's whereabouts, they put the government on notice that they were actively seeking to free him. They also put the government on notice that they could put up like a faux guards, and also to designate a wizard to scry on Lefty as he toured the remaining guild strongholds. When the PCs asked about the papers Lefty was working on, I sort of improvised my response. But even if they had read the papers, I would have had it been written in Celestial, a language that none of them speak, and would have had very difficult time finding anyone, besides Lefty, of course, who could actually interpret it for them. The reason to do this is because you want them, if they uncover this treachery, not to be just by a whim or just by some sort of superficial investigation. You want them to commit to an investigation, to have a suspicion that they follow through on. This requires some buy-in from the PCs that, this is worth investigating, that there's enough suspicious activity here. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for failure if you make it too easy for them. Another PC choice that really influenced the outcome here was deciding to send Lefty to join their most powerful ally. This put Lefty in the perfect position to provide valuable information to the government and in the perfect position to do the most damage. As I sort of hinted at throughout my opening section where I told you about the background, I dropped clues throughout that Lefty was not on the level. There were several instances where PCs expressed outrage over his lack of helpfulness. But I just deflected. I did not outright lie. I never did anything to harm the party as Lefty. I never did anything to harm the party, and I never didn't try to help. I just tried and failed in barely plausible ways. And all of those things are crucial in the storytelling aspect to sort of give reason for suspicion if they're looking for it and if they're very sensitive, but don't make it so obvious that it gives the whole thing away and takes away the big reveal. So again, there's a key point here, and this might surprise you, but throughout this entire process, throughout the entire story arc, I wasn't certain that Lefty would follow through on his betrayal. I simply reacted to what the PCs did based on Lefty's values. So if Lefty had stayed with the party throughout the time instead of being dispatched to a believed safe location with a powerful criminal, he would have likely betrayed the government and told the party and to help them escape out of his personal loyalties to them. But when they sent him to the renowned criminal, it made the decision easy for Lefty. He had no qualms betraying a person who was a murderer and a thief. Another situation where this entire plot might have gone differently is if they had decided to attack Lefty after discovering his deceit. In that case, Lefty would have tried to fight back, at least holding out, and it would have been a dangerous fight because, like I said, the government forces were on their way. If Lefty, as a powerful healer, could have stayed alive long enough for the government forces to arrive, it could have been a TPK, which would have been an unfortunate outcome, but you still have to allow the PC's choices to matter. Because they sat down and asked Lefty about his choices, they were given an opportunity to learn more about how the government operated and about what the government knew. I mean, it's clear that the government never authorized Lefty to disclose the plan. So, in a way, he did betray the government by telling the PCs about his ideals, about the reasons for his decision, and about the fact that the government was coming right now for them. All of these outcomes were based on the decisions of the PCs. Nothing was set in stone. Possible outcomes range from the spectrum of fight to the death with Lefty to Lefty escaping with them and possibly joining them for some time and being a cleric on their team. Neither of those things happened, but that was because of the choices that the PCs made throughout the process. PC choice is crucial to collaborative storytelling. It is the unique aspect of collaborative storytelling. It's what makes D&D so engaging, so unpredictable, so epic. Only by allowing PC choice can we determine an outcome that feels real, that feels active, a world that feels dynamic and is in the palms of our hands. To make PC choices important, we as DMs have a responsibility to present complex moral dilemmas fraught with danger and nuance. And for this reason, I hope Lefty's choice helps you in your own stories. Let me know in the comments below. Also, like, share, subscribe. Visit our website at oppressedbysun.com. Listen to our podcast, which you can find at oppressedbysun.com or on our Podbean account. And all of those links are in the description below. I look forward to hearing from you. I will respond to any people who contact me, and thank you.